Hey everybody, it's Elaine, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Tales of Beedle the Bard, which is by J.K. Rowling. It can be described as a companion novel associated with her famous Harry Potter series. It was actually first mentioned in the final novel of the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and it can be described as a short collection of fairy tales aimed at the young witches and wizards of Rowling's Wizarding World. Some of the stories included in this novel include The Wizard and the Hopping Pot and The Tale of the Three Brothers, which actually came up and was played a role in the final novel in Rowling's series. While I enjoyed this book because it was fast paced and fun and set in Rowling's Wizarding World, it did suffer from several of the issues typically associated with fairy tale literature. For example, there is minimal character development and minimal amounts of information given about each of the characters in the stories, um, which makes it difficult to tell the characters apart. For example, in The Fountain of Fair Fortune, we are merely told that Asha is a witch suffering from some sort of health problem that no one can cure, and Amada is a witch suffering from a broken heart. Essentially, she was in a relationship, it didn't work out, her heart is broken. We are really not given any more information about these two characters and are left with the sense that they lack depth. Where they also remained static characters. This supports that claim that they lack depth. They're only driven by this one desire. In Asha's case, it's to grow healthy again. In Amada's, it's to overcome the pain of her relationship. And ultimately, due to the lack of information pertaining to these characters and many of the others that appear in this novel, readers finish each tale wanting more. We're also left with the sense that these characters are completely interchangeable. You could just toss them anywhere, change their name in one minor detail, and they're, whoever. Sometimes you don't even need to change that detail. They're basically the same person over and over. It's like this one's good and this one's bad, and maybe this one's a little neutral. But it's also taken within context, like this person was mean in this context, so I guess they're a bad person. Well, this person was nice in this context, so I guess this person's a good person, but that's not necessarily true. Hopefully that makes some sense. Second, each of these stories could be described as short and sweet. So, generally speaking, I was left wanting more. I didn't feel like the stories were long enough, especially because if you look at this, the formatting, I mean, this is like Dumbledore's commentary, but there's a lot of empty space there. The pages are small, so there really wasn't much to read. So ultimately, not only are we left wanting to know more about the characters, wanting to see more development, but we want to know what happens next to each of the characters that Rowling mentions, or even what occurred prior to the start of the story that the character is in. Like, what led these characters to where they find themselves now? A question not even associated with that is, what is there to know about the setting? Like, what's going on in this forest they find themselves in, or this town? What's the name of the town? What kind of people live there with them? What do people typically do? Is it more industrial? Is it, more agricultural? Is it futuristic? Not in this case, obviously, but just as an example. We don't really know anything about basically anything going on in these stories, and it's a little troublesome. Some other issues, which ultimately don't have anything to do with the fact that this is a group of fairy tales, included Dumbledore's commentary on each of the stories. I felt as though the commentary ultimately detracted from the flow. Obviously, it's not a fairy tale, it's a commentary, I'm sorry. And although it's associated with the story, it didn't really feel like it belonged there to me. I also didn't like the footnotes. I thought they were stupid and unnecessary in a lot of cases. The fact that the commentary took up so much space also bothered me. I definitely would have wanted to see more of the fairy tales, which is ultimately part of the reason why I purchased this book, and a lot less of the commentary. I was also frustrated by the fact that Rowling made it difficult for me to draw my own conclusions from these stories, because basically she had Dumbledore telling me how I was supposed to look at them, and for me that's not a lot of fun. I want to be able to draw my own conclusions, think about what things mean, really, take everything in stride, and I can't do that if I'm being told how to think. Um, the final issue I had for this book ultimately stemmed from my own personal preference. One of the stories in the book is called The Warlock's Hairy Heart, which I would describe as a dark fairy tale. It's definitely the most gruesome in this novel, and I found it really unpleasant. I'm not into that type of literature. I'm not a fan of that style. I definitely would have preferred something that was happier or more neutral in tone, like a lot of the other stories. I would say most of them are more neutral than anything else, although they have their dark aspects and their lighter aspects, obviously. That's what neutral means. Anyway, I would suggest that anyone who feels the same way as me, someone who isn't into, darker fairy tales, stay away from this one. It's not. It doesn't have a happy ending. Just leave it at that. Despite the fact that I really wasn't a fan of that particular story, I did enjoy all the other ones, uh, and I also, like I said, didn't enjoy, despite the fact that I didn't enjoy the commentary by Dumbledore, I did enjoy this book. I really like The Tale of the Three Brothers. I also liked The Fountain of Fair Fortune, probably the most outside of The Tale of the Three Brothers. And ultimately, I leave this book with a positive rating. I'm giving it a 3.6 out of 5 stars, just again because of the issues that commonly come up with fairy tale literature and the commentary, and then this one dark fairy tale, which I was really not a fan of. So, thanks everyone for listening, and I hope you all have a great day. See you soon. Bye.